We were discussing the work that Mastercard has been doing. What are some contributions that Mastercard has made to Kenya's, financial ecosystem? And are there any like success stories that you would point at that, warm your heart and you're like, wow, this is beautiful. This is something that would not have happened were it not for the work that Mastercard is doing. And I'm glad that we're able to do this for Kenya and for the financial ecosystem at large.
Thanks, Mariam. I think that's a great question, and I don't know where to start, but I will start
The
somewhere.
list is long, yeah?
The list is long. So I think I'll start with a broad statement that says one of our objectives as Mastercard is to actually bring in 1 billion people into the formal inclusive society.
Okay.
We've already covered half of that, which is 500 million already.
Wow, okay.
And obviously the next target is to get to the next 500,000 by 2025.
Mm-hmm.
And then within our communities here in Kenya, we are looking specifically at actually, we've got a fund where we are providing support to the segments. And the target is to get 50 million of those into an inclusive payment ecosystem and help them, obviously grow. And within that 50 million, 25 million is specifically allocated to the women entrepreneurs. We've got a specific focus to develop women entrepreneurs.
Yes.
We know that, especially here in Kenya, they are actually the entrepreneurs that are driving financial inclusion within, obviously, the remote parts of the countries.
True.
And therefore, it is critical that we develop that sector and obviously work with them to actually expand and contribute to the economy within the country. But additionally, we've got a couple of programs that we've also introduced. I'll mention a couple. So there's Jazaduka, where we are working with, the FMCG segments to actually help store or to actually show up the supplies within, their organizations.
That's fast-moving consumer goods. Some of our listeners might be
Fast
like, what is an
fast-
FMCG? Yes.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. And so we've partnered with one of our partners, KCB, and we've also partnered with obviously an FMCG that is providing the support in this particular case. And what that has done, it has brought more than 20,000 small merchants into the payment ecosystem that traditionally they've not been involved in. And then what we are starting to see from the case studies of that is that they start to grow. And they become bigger, and they employ more people, and they contribute to the economy within the country. And so that is a use case that we are very proud to have been associated with. It is still something that is taking off, and it will expand, obviously working with our partners. Then we've got Community Pass, which is looking after the agri segment of our business. As you know, Kenya and most of our African markets sustain themselves through agriculture. And we are trying to ensure that we also digitize the processes within that agri sector. So as we speak today, we've actually partnered again with a couple of banking partners in Kenya and in East Africa.
Yes.
And we've brought in globally, I think, about 2.4 million farmers into our payment ecosystem. Of which, if I look at Kenya today, 750,000 have already been brought into this scheme, and we are targeting
750,000 in Kenya alone.
In Kenya alone.
That's amazing. Yes.
And we're obviously targeting to try and net off very shortly to get to 1 million. And I think, and obviously this process is really making sure that, the farmers are able to create a marketplace where they can actually, trade their goods, but get inputs, and also make sure that their payments are received faster. They can also then make payments to their suppliers, etc. And also within that environment, they're able to get information that will help that community to be able to actually, for example, if I need to then treat my cattle, I can actually get that information using my technology, which is obviously through my mobile phone, whether it's a smartphone or a USSD feature phone. You are able to actually get that information and are able to then communicate with your constituents within your community. And also, we've partnered recently with Chua.net to also provide skills for the youth, because we do realize that we need to invest in the youth for a sustainable future.
Yes.
And that is something that we take pride in. We've actually put in an amount of $50,000 to support this particular program. It kicked off last week.
Amazing.
And we are happy that Mastercard is taking a very keen interest in developing many of these sectors that are important for the sustainability of our business.
True.
And that's only just looking at the sustainability part of our business.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you allow me, I mean, we also speak about the traditional business where we've partnered with government.
Yes.
Obviously, e-citizen comes into play.
Yes, it does.
With all the government services that the president has asked.
Yeah, that
Right.
be boarded on e-citizen, right?
Correct.
There's quite a raft of them.
There's a raft of services. We are also part of that. And then we've also, last week I was part of the Kenya Tourism Board and East Africa Regional Expo, where obviously one of the things that we are trying to encourage is bringing in more and more tourists into the country.
Yeah.
Now, and that's very important because you might think, where does Mastercard play a role in this? It does. One, because the first click that happens when someone is planning for a journey is through the internet. And if they can get that information and then they can link that to a payment experience, then obviously it starts to make sense. Then we then use some of our data insights that we have, which is anonymized data. So we don't see your name,
Yes.
Mariam, we don't see your name, Brian, but we see the data. And we'll tell you these people are coming from certain destinations. Can we then work with the tourism boards to be able to actually provide more insights into some of the things that we see from our data, including the trips before they come, what they do before they come, the planning process, what they actually do when they are here in Kenya, when they are going to see the
How much they
resources,
spend
how much
and
they
on
spend
what,
and
yes.
on what, and so we can
Okay.
package something. We can even see what they do after, so that we can also tailor certain programs that will then attract them based on obviously what we've seen. And ultimately what we're trying to encourage or to try and push together with, obviously a partnership with KTB, which is now in its second of its third year, is, we've got 2 million people coming in on an annual basis. Why can't we double that?
Yeah.
Why can't we get to the levels of some of the European countries with the same population, with the same
And probably not even as
country size?
attractive touristically.
Yeah.
I'm not bragging, but just saying they might not even have what we have,
and then
right?
they're bringing 90 million people into their countries. We need to start looking at that, and we've got so much that we can offer
Yeah.
as Kenya as a